bots and bits fans, another good morning to you all. Today I'm taking a look at NBK-02 Green and NBK-02 Clear, the KO Gravity Builder GT-01C. Now this is a bit of a funny one. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that I'm not the biggest fan of NBK's scrapper, and a lot of people seem to have taken some sort of personal offense to that, leaving some nasty and aggressive comments. Some made it through to the public list, but most of them YouTube got onto pretty quick and removed them before I even got to see them. And I don't respond to them because I'm currently using my Comebacks and Insult book to prop up my lamp, so I'll just have to keep killing you with kindness. But anyway, let's just get into the details of this and see what comes in the box. Alright, so both of them come with the exact same instructions. Well, mine did at least. No differences whatsoever. They both come with their respective combiner hands. Now I did see, hang on, there we go, focus. Now I did see some complaints of breaking in this hinge. I think Ben's Collectibles, his snapped. That was pretty unfortunate. So I've paid close attention to mine, and the hand that I got with the green doesn't seem to have any issues. It's not very stiff. As you can see, that's moving quite freely, but there are no stress marks or cracks there. Oh, what just happened? Well, I'll fix that later. But the point I'm getting to is the hand that come with the green, the clear, without, that one's come off as well. In here, let me just zoom in. I had stress marks straight out of the box the first time I opened it. Look. See that? See the white coming up? That's going to snap off any second. And this joint is much stiffer than the other one, and it's creating a pretty noticeable crack. So combined, that probably wouldn't last too long, I don't think. Simple fix, I'd say. Let's just give that screw a loosen. Just loosen that a little bit. A little bit too loose, but it's not causing any stress mark. The stress mark that I did cause is still there, but you can see now there's no stress or tension on that, so it's not flexing it anymore. So I would say when you get this, if you go to open this section and it's just really stiff and you're feeling a bit of resistance on the plastic, just loosen that screw a little bit and see how you go, and just take it easy. Alright, so back onto this hand. Let me just reattach this thing. There we go. Easy enough. So as you can see, it does open and close. The wheels move pretty easily. Those missiles popped up like I did show before. We have the swivel here for the elbow in combined mode, and obviously the hands. Now I'm really impressed with these hands. I think they're done really, really well. Look at all that articulation, and they're not loose at all. I mean, it's not going to hold a Megatron in there. It's not tight enough to do that, but it will hold a pose. We've got some tabs in there, so I'd say that it will hold a gun. And the other one, which had this bit come apart as well, get on there. Right, the other one is exactly the same. And you can connect it like a trailer to this little tab. Just in there, just fold that out, move these feet out of the way, slot that on, rotate it around like that, and you have a hand trailer if that's what you're into. And we also get his pistol. Let's just zoom in, which, you know, it's nothing special. Folds in half. I'll have to look into why. Storage maybe, I don't know. It's not really that loose, and that peg holds well. And the other one is the same, so pretty consistent. Alright, so onto the vehicle modes. I'll start with the clear because I think this is the most interesting to look at. I don't know what it is about clear plastic that makes me want to buy it, but I guess I'm just a sucker for that sort of thing. Now, the clear plastic does look good. It's held together pretty well. I'm not seeing stress marks in any of the major areas like the elbows or the legs or the feet or anything, but what I do have is a lot of sprue marks. They're not just so much regular sprue marks, but they've got extra plastic hanging off the edge. So I'll just zoom in and have a look. See, like there, because you've got an actual sharp bit of orange plastic coming off there, and the green. Where else have we got it? Got another bit just on the back of the heel here. Big chunks on the underside of the treads. That one flicked off actually. So that's a little bit annoying. And then on the inside of the shoulder for bot mode, just at the end of my thumb here, let me just focus. That's a big chunk right there. So where else? Back of the head. To be honest, it is consistent with what we've gotten before from NBK, so when I got this one out of the box, I wasn't as shocked. I was expecting it. While I'm up close, there isn't really any paint on this thing. You've got your 2 silver rectangles just there and a warning sticker. That's it. Now the silver on this side's not done too bad. This side a little bit scratched up, and the sticker looks a little bit worn out, but whatever. It's a construction vehicle, it's meant to look a little bit worn. I'm sure it's unintentional, but the plastic does look good, and it does tab in together pretty well. Gave it a bit of a shake, it hasn't come out at all. The only bit that doesn't tab in very well are these 2 top bits here. They sound like they do. They sound pretty secure, but really they're just sitting there. The purple plastic on the crane arm looks really cheap. It doesn't look very good at all, and it carries through with the purple on the rest of him as well. It looks very different to the purple plastic that we got with Scrapper. Stand up. Oh my god, this I'm trying to say something nice and it just, fuck me, stand up. Right, purple plastic on this guy seems better, thicker and less glossy and shiny than it does on this one. This seems like a real cheap toy plastic, where that seems a lot more durable. But that doesn't seem to affect its functionality at all. The crane does have a ratchet at the base here, which is pretty loud, and you would think it's strong, but it's not. It's a bit floppy. But anyway, the second hinge is a much softer ratchet, and then the scoop has no ratchet at all. And the scoop is actually made of 2 pieces. It's the purple main scoop with the black insert, which is, you know, kind of cool. It's a bit of effort. You can also get a 360-degree rotation with the crane arm. Just move this chest piece out of the way, or those tabs will get caught. So just bring that forward, and he can give himself a nice cuddle. Alright, so onto the green. Now overall, I find the green plastic and looks wise to be of a better standard than the clear. The sprue marks, while they are all in the same spot, are nowhere near as bad. It's back in. A bit of a chunk there, chunk there. That's a lot better than compared to the clear. These windows are a lot better. Still got sprue marks on the tracks, but they're not really sticking out too much. The plastic does still look cheap, but it is exactly the same as the Scrapper, so this, you know what to expect now. The grey is still Swell City, and those tabs are just sitting in there. They're not actually going in, which causes problems with that, but who cares. The crane, the plastic is exactly the same. Oh no, the clear is slightly darker purple. That ratchet feels a lot better. Let's just, yeah, look at that. That's heaps better than on this one. The second ratchet feels pretty strong as well, and that scoop isn't loose. Now for the rotation, I can't get this bit to really come forward all that much, so I can only really get it from there to there, unless you pull it forward, get it past those tabs and then let go. But now you can't get it back, so it doesn't move as freely as this one. See, this chest bit sits really far forward, so that gap, so it's clear to move around it. On this one, not so much. It's touching it, and it won't come any more forward. The combiner port isn't too bad. It is a friction at first, and then when it gets to this point, it is a ratchet. Reasonably strong. I'm not sure how well it would hold the weight, but it is quite stiff to move, and there's a soft ratchet rotation. Then there is also the second outer ratchet, but it does seem to skip teeth a lot. So listen, it has a lot of play and at the last click and the first click. So see that? There's a lot of movement before it will actually lock in. And now there's a lot of movement again. Tons and tons of play. Fold that in. I think the clear is about the same. Get out. Yeah, see? Heaps of play between clicks. We'll have to wait for hook to come out to sort of see how they hold up. I'm betting that they're not going to hold up well, because that is a lot of in between. So, well. Alright, on to transformation. I'm just going to get rid of these boxes because they're distracting my autofocus. And let's transform this one. Alright, so first untab them, and then untab the forearms from the legs. And then go ahead and untab these feet and pull these legs out like that. And then fold them around and get them out of the way. Now bring the torso up like this, and you've got a tab there, and same on the other side. And just tab that in. Grab these treads and bring them down on both sides like that. And then grab your heel spur, pull that out, rotate them around. Oh, wrong way. Rotate that around, and I didn't bring this toe out. Now with these hips, this plastic is a little bit soft, so you don't really want to put too much pressure on it, but you can just sort of give it a wiggle and walk them down into position. So I'm really not putting any pressure on this at all until the end, when I want to tab them in together, and then just push them together like that. And that's the hips and the legs. Bring this little grey chest section down and swivel the torso at the top. Push the crane down the back. Bring these arms down and out of the way like that. Fold your head up and then tab it into the chest piece as best you can. So leave it flat, rotate it around, fold the panel under, and then where's the tab? There we go, tab it in. Bring the fist out, fold it up, and there he is, all done. So overall, pretty cool transformation. Much better bot mode than with Scrapper, that's for sure. There's a lot more functionality with this. I wonder if this was the design they already had, or if they learnt a few things from their Scrapper. So having them side by side, see how dumpy and stumpy he looks? They really messed those legs up. I think that's what did it for me. I could pass on everything else, like the forearms and the elbows and these big wheels and the feet. They really messed these legs up on Scrapper. But, look, get lost. But on this one, I'm liking this. I'm really liking what they've done with the legs. Now, they are ball socket hips, so we do get, oh no, I thought we got all the way forward, but we don't because of this tank tread plastic sort of stuff here. You got to go forward and forward to there. That's it. And it just wants to go out after that. That's really sucky. And then back is the same, back to there and any further, and he does the splits. But you know, he does do the splits to there. Movement is a little bit rubbish, but you can still get some cool poses. We have an upper knee swivel, 360 all the way around. We have a really good knee bend. Look at that. So, and when it runs out of the green machinery, it goes into the black machinery there, so there's no gaps or anything. We do have a swivel at the ankle, and that is really tight. We have a ball socket toe, which is reasonably tight, and we have this heel spur, which when locked in, doesn't go past there. So, holds the weight of that crane really well. And that locking mechanism, like I showed you, works pretty well. I'm really happy that they've added that in and made it work as well as it does, because without it, I think this would be an absolute mess. Right. We also get a swivel at the waist. You don't have that upper torso swivel because that's all locked into place. The arms, we do have friction joints out to there. We have the full 360 non-ratcheted, both sides out to there. Pretty good range. There isn't too much in the way. That cab does clear the head pretty well. So you can get some pretty cool, that one, surprisingly that one hits the head, but the other side doesn't. Have upper bicep swivel, both sides, which is reasonably stiff. We have a soft ratchet at the elbow, which sounds alright. You know, pretty floppy if you apply any pressure to it, but it does hold pretty well. And we have a very stiff wrist swivel. I think his gun fits in his hand reasonably well. Doesn't go all the way flush. I'll just chuck the other one in why not? He holds them pretty well. They're not falling out, so you know, what more do you want? The crane arm is a real eyesore. There isn't really much you can do with it. It doesn't go any lower than that, so you can just sort of maybe bring this tab up and you can sort of tuck it in. It is just on a ball peg, so if you're sick of it, I'm pretty sure, yeah, you can just take it off and have him without it, just for bot mode, and that, you know, that looks alright. I'll just quickly get the clear transformed up and we'll take a look at that one. And there they both are in bot mode. Transforming the clear, I didn't come into anything different than the green. Nothing was harder to do, or there was nothing floppier or softer or whatever. It was exactly the same. Articulation obviously is exactly the same, but some joints are tighter than green and some joints aren't. So for example, the shoulder here, the rotational all the way around, that doesn't want to really go past there. It is really stiff, and I think there's actually something obstructing it. This side is really stiff as well, but when it comes to the soft ratchets on the elbows, that's just too soft. That is really, really floppy and bad. The ball sockets in the hips are just as good as the green, as is the upper knee swivel, and also the ankle swivel on this is super tight. Look at that. It does not want to go. And the ball socket is adequately tight. Locking mechanism on the back works as designed. Overall about the same, just those soft ratchets are a little bit rubbish. Alright, so the paint on the face is rubbish. Let's be honest, it was rubbish on Scrapper, it's rubbish on this one. The whole thing's clear plastic for the light piping, and they've just sprayed the silver on top, but not very well. There's still, it's not much paint applied at all. They could have done a little bit more. They could have just done it like another millimeter or two over each way, just to make it look like it's not a mouthpiece just floating in the middle of his head. But, you know, what are you going to do? Grey plastic, as expected, is Swell City. There's not, you know, what are you going to do about that? It looks powdery, it looks crappy. I'm not impressed by that grey at all. It's a big part of his torso. I think they shouldn't have gone so cheap for that. The clear plastic is done alright. There's no sprue marks or cracks or anything. Pretty much the same when it comes to the clear. The grey is all swirly. The clear plastic's not too bad. No chips or anything. Nasty sprue marks up and down. These hands, well, they get the job done. They don't get much more basic than that. And that looks so grainy. It looks like it's been cheaply 3D printed on like an old, one of the first Da Vinci's or something. But, you know, again, what are you going to do? What is it, 20 bucks? It's 20 bucks, so it's going to be a little bit shit. Thankfully though, the green cleans up a little bit better when it comes to the plastic. The greys, the greens, everything, it all cleans up much better. Down the legs of the green, it is surprisingly tidy. It all goes together really well. I'm not seeing too many shocking sprue marks anywhere on the legs. And there they are with their matching scrappers. Now, I still think these scrappers are just absolute house. And they look even crapper next to the Scavengers, right? These Scavengers, they're alright. You know, they're shoddy in places, but I think the level of engineering and the quality of them, it's 20 bucks. They're alright. These ones, these scrappers, nah, they're garbage. But you need them if you're going to collect the set, you know what I'm saying? I still think for the cost, and especially the cost that some places are charging for these, that they could do better. The sprue marks could be done better. The grey plastic could be done a little bit better. I'd be happy if I saw a little bit more silver paint in the faces done better. You know, they did that on Scrapper. They went underneath the cheeks. I don't know why they couldn't have done it on here. So I think the $20 mark, the low cost, isn't much of an excuse anymore. Have you seen what other companies are doing for 20 bucks? Mech Fans Toys have been putting out some amazing quality. Yes, Legend scale, but it wouldn't cost that much just to up it a little bit, I wouldn't imagine. Hot Soldiers, incredible value. Their Soundwave with the little laser beaks, and my god, that thing is awesome quality, and that is like between $10 and $20 depending on where you get it from. And they're an original, well, not Mech Fans Toys, but Hot Soldiers was an original design, so they've got the original R&D costs and all of that. So I don't think the low cost of these is an excuse anymore. I think even though it's between 20, you know, around the $20 mark, I still think we have a right to complain a little bit, just a little bit. Face paint, grey swells, sharp sprue marks, right? you know, you're going to expect sprue marks, but these sharp bits where it looks like they haven't even afforded to give their workers little snips, and the workers are just twisting them off the sprues, you know? Nah, that's I don't like it. Having said that though, I have to give credit where credit is due. My major complaints about NBK were the engineering choices. The simplification was just done way too much on Scrapper. He had trouble standing up, he had trouble posing. You know, it was a real rubbish figure, and that's why I didn't like it. It's just, you can't do much with it. Well, I couldn't at least. So, they've improved that a lot with their Scavenger. His ankles are tight, the heel spur is awesome, the knees are tight, the swivel is tight, the hips are tight, the shoulders are tight, the elbows not so much. The weight distribution is good. You can pose him in a really interesting and dynamic way. So I think that they've got the simplification right. If they went any further, I think it would have been a piece of shit. Honestly though, I think if you liked NBK Scrapper, like really liked it, you are going to be absolutely blown away by this. It is a step up. It is a step in the right direction. It's still not enough steps for me. I can see that they've improved, but I still don't like it. And if you're a bit iffy about Scrapper, probably just forget it. But yeah, if you're already into the set and you wanted to know whether this was the same quality or better, it's better. So go get it. As always, if you have any comments, questions, love or corrections, I'm sure there'll be some, please leave them below. If you've bought Scavenger and have anything to add to what I've said, I'd love to hear what you think about it. Keep it polite though, please. Let's have a conversation, not an argument. And if you enjoyed my video and like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe. Remember to check out my Facebook page for news and updates on KO and third-party stuff. I usually do 1 or 2 a day, so head over there and see what's happening. And that's it, I'm done for today. Thanks for your time and thanks for watching, guys.